Okay, 1 minute here. We got a few more things I need to set up, and then I'm actually going to read this thing over here, which unfortunately I can't show you. Hang in there with me for a moment. If there's anybody watching at this point, we'll get started in just another few minutes. Oh, what's going on there? That's interesting. Hey, don't grab on me. There. Okay, sorry about that. Got that sent to me right as I was getting started. So I'm jumping straight in. Fair warning to anybody that might be watching this, the main thing I'm kind of intending to test is whether or not this is going to freeze my computer. So if it turns out that it is going to freeze my computer, that's also going to make the stream cut out. So if the stream cuts out on you, especially like sometime after you see me start a CircuitPython build, that's probably what happened. It froze my computer, or else something bad happened and stream cut out for that reason. It probably depends on what time it is and how long I've been going, if and when that does occur, whether or not I'll come back or not tonight. So if it does cut out and I've already been streaming for a while, then I may not come back. If you're catching this and you're interested whether or not I'm going to come back, you can try to ping me in the live broadcast chat on Discord or in the Twitch chat. I'll try to keep an eye on. And I can answer back there if I'm going to hop back on. Excuse me 1 second as well. Whoop. I don't know if that actually got cut off correctly. The other fair warning that I'll give you at the top here is I am feeling some kind of seasonal allergies or something, so I will unfortunately probably be doing some sniffling, coughing, and sounding kind of weird and stuff like that. So you'll have to forgive me for that. But what I'm trying to do right now is figure out whether I have managed to fix or change in a positive way whatever was causing my computer to freeze when I make CircuitPython builds sometimes rather. It's not a consistent thing. It doesn't happen every time. It is happening often enough that it's making it pretty inconvenient to develop CircuitPython stuff and pretty much impossible to stream about developing CircuitPython core stuff specifically, because it's during the core build that I seem to be having this problem. So I have tried a few things since yesterday. I streamed a bit yesterday and I got cut off due to this issue when my computer froze up. I tried some more stuff yesterday after I got off the stream. It still froze on me a couple more times, but I did end up trying a few things that it didn't freeze on me after that. I did several builds and they were successful, so fingers crossed, knock on wood. Any type of other good luck gesture that anybody is aware of. Maybe hopefully we just won't be having any more trouble, and that would be really, really nice. But I don't know. I got to try it out, so that's what we're here to do. If anybody is interested, I don't necessarily think it will apply super widely, but I have tested out a few things. I found this mem tester thing, which allows me to test the RAM. It doesn't really let you test all the RAM, I don't think, because my system actually has 64 gigabytes, but when I put that value in, it didn't like it. Didn't work. It killed the process or something. My assumption was that it's just not allowed to grab all the RAM, which makes total sense because like other stuff on the computer is still running. You know, IDEs are open at this point, like OBS and browsers and Discord, and all these things are open and going to consume RAM. Therefore, we can't just grab 100% of all of it in order to use it for testing. So I assume that's what happened. I don't really know how it chooses which RAM it's testing and which RAM it's not testing. So I don't really know what to expect from this. As far as I can tell, it looks like it was successful, at least on the half that it did test. So I guess that's a good sign. I did also find this watch sensors thing, which allows me to look at the output of the temperature from the sensors. I think Mark or somebody mentioned about trying to check into the temperature of the CPU and stuff like that when it's freezing. So I'm actually going to try to keep that up on the other screen there. That way, in case if it does freeze, I can actually look over at it and it will be frozen there, but it will have the last known temperature that it got. So I guess I'll be able to see if it was high or low or anything like that. Let me pop the chats over top, but not obstructing. Way in the unlucky event that we do freeze, I can at least have some more diagnostics. Like if I can see that the temperature is too hot, then I at least know that that's potentially what the problem is. So I've done that kind of stuff for testing wise. I also updated a lot of things, apt get update and upgrade and all that stuff. It turned out there was a new version of the kernel that it downloaded, which also for an entirely separate reason. I was using an older kernel anyway, because at one point I tried a newer one and that wasn't working for something else. I don't remember exactly what. And I switched back to the old one and I was back up and running. So I've been using the old kernel for a while, 5.15, I think. There was a 6 something that I wasn't using because it wasn't working. After all the updates that I also did last night, there's now a 6.20, I think it is, which is the one that I'm using now. So hopefully, maybe updating to the newer kernel could have hopefully helped the system be happier and not freeze. That would be nice too. So those are kind of the things that have been done. I'm hoping it worked, but the only way I know to test is like, kind of rev the engine, so to speak. So I pop on the OBS, pop on the stream. I got the IDEs open. I'm listening to music. I'm kind of doing all the stuff that I would be doing if I were streaming for Deep Dive or on Saturday or something like that. So we're going to see if it freezes on me or not. That's kind of a very long-winded warning that if I disappear, that's probably the reason why. To start with, I'm gonna do what? Right now, I am on main branch, but I have uncommitted changes which were from what I started working on yesterday, which was the storage info, disk info API. I started working on this and I was making a build to try to test something, and that's when it froze. It looks like I never did commit, so what I'm just going to jump back to this branch. I'm going to commit. I'm going to uncheck these things because I don't know why they have changes. I don't want to push those changes, I don't think, or maybe I do. I'm not actually sure. I guess like we could try to look at main. I don't really know what these files are. I don't want to get too deep in the rabbit hole of whatever these things are, Git submodules or some kind of hashes, whatever these things are. But right now I'm just going to uncheck them. I am going to commit this, which has the code that we started writing yesterday. Uh-oh. Just heard cat hiss. You hissed at, buddy? Undecided. We don't want to push to Adafruit. We want to go Foamy Guy to Skinfo API. Yeah, push that. And I'm actually going to go back to this, which I did not work on yesterday. This is the boundary fill, run tasks, background stuff, and handle Control-C interrupt. This is something I worked on last week. And I got some feedback about how to potentially fix the Unix port. So we're going to start with that. Adding this to MP figure port, which would be for the Unix port inside of config. Does MicroPython have some support for Android? Interesting. This is several years old at this point, but I definitely never knew about it. That's kind of cool. Vamped. Couple years after. Buildable. Wonder if this ever got merged. They give a branch? My fork doesn't say a branch. I guess. Where's that thing that says like it's not like a not actually a fork though. I copy. I copy different than MicroPython? This is the next evolution, I guess. What is it different than MicroPython? The active? Okay. Indulge the slight distraction. I'm like always interested to just look around at stuff, like in a new file that I haven't ever done anything in before, just to see what's there. I don't know what a lot of this stuff means, but remember what it looks like at some point potentially. Someday I may be looking for something that's in here, so taking a minute to scroll through and look at it. Outside of this, I guess, right? Thing is, like, where do we just... What's the right spot inside here to do this? Are some just kind of in the root here? I guess that's probably not as good as anywhere. I don't think we necessarily want it inside any of the if things. Are any of these like CircuitPy? I try to find a CircuitPy section. Really, huh? Okay. Go at the end of all these, I guess. We're kind of tricking it. I mean, I don't know if it's a trick exactly, but we're defining this as a blank thing, basically. Empty or null or something, so that it exists at least. Like, it's apparently never going to get called anyway after it gets built, but we do need it to try to get built successfully. And currently it's failing to build because it can't find that function in the Unix port specifically. The rest of the ports it can because it compiles it because it's included in some of the stuff it uses. But in the Unix port, it doesn't compile it. This is, if I'm understanding right, going to replace it with kind of like null or fake or like a dummy variable so that it can build even if it wouldn't actually work. I'm gonna take the J2 off, I think. I've been trying to stick to no J's for now. It makes it faster to use the J's, but I don't know if it makes it more likely to fail or not, i.e. freeze up. And on the off chance that it does make it more likely, I want to just go without. Eventually I'll start, like, if I go for a while without it freezing using no J's, then eventually I'll put them back in, see if I start freezing after that. They'll kind of tell me if it's the issue. I did actually already freeze some without the J's, so I don't necessarily think that it's like a silver bullet to just not use it and then it won't freeze, because I did freeze some with it. I can't say that I did too many. I don't think I did any Unix port builds when it froze on me, so I don't know if it can or would or any of that kind of stuff. Looks like we got a successful one here though, so save that. Look at our diff. There's a better spot to put it, but run pre-commit. I'm glad I did that. Let's ramp up the fan. I don't really see the temperature change. Oh, I was not looking at the CPU. Didn't do as much. I say it didn't do as much work the next second time. But so formatting failed, and then it should have formatted the code, but then next time it actually still failed. Okay. That does absolutely spike the CPU temperature. I saw 88 on the chart thing, the other screen. It says 80 is high and it says 100 is critical. So we were almost halfway between high and critical. And it did ramp up the fan a lot. And it did also cool off really fast. Like it dropped back to around 50 in a second or two. Probably would be good if it was not topping out at that 88 or whatever though, right? Could I make the fan more aggressive? Like, I don't hear the fan right now. I don't know if it's on and just quiet, or if it's not on at all. Either way, though, could I chunk up a slight bit the kind of like idle speed of the fan? That way it's like, even when the CPU is not revving, the fan is on a little bit more than it is now. That way, when the CPU does rev, the fan's already running faster. Or hopefully it cools it off better, faster. Eventually prevents it from reaching as high temperatures. See, and I am This feels like kind of the same sort of transient error. It didn't freeze my computer, which is nice, step in the right direction. But I am kind of thinking that maybe this sort of thing, like stuff getting killed randomly, I'm kind of thinking maybe that's what's happening. Like stuff is getting killed randomly. In this case, it was black running. When I do the builds, it would be GCC or whatever's compiling. Stuff's getting killed and then something is not gracefully handling it. Something is then just causing it to freeze. This is like a complete hypothesis on my part. I don't know why that would have changed. It's like a merge from main thing? Merge from main? Wow, that was absurdly fast. Why did that go so fast? It's that fast. Could my kernel have been making that take forever? We'll say that is usually like, I'm used to that being way slower, like sometimes multiple minutes in order to update a thing like that. It spends a long time on checking branch protection rules. Whereas now it's just like, did it actually pull anything? Actually say if it got anything. Merge into? In? What does as a change? I don't think we want to commit that. I mean, it's gonna fail pre-commit in the actions, but like, how could it? I didn't touch this code, so why? How did I get it in a state where the formatter wanted to change it? How did the formatter not change it before it got committed into wherever it got committed so that I could then update? If I commit without this, it should run pre-commit with actions and fail, I guess, right? Because I mean, I think this would have had to have been what changed that code file. If I commit it without that, it should fail in GitHub. Whoa, now we have more stuff. Are these ones? Why were those not there? Of others. I mean, these hash ones I am familiar with. I don't know what they are or why those count as a difference in my branch either, but I've seen them before. This kind of thing, I guess I have seen this on occasion as well, but I also don't know the cause of it, where like, I don't really understand how I could have gotten a version where pre-commit would have been wanting to change the formatting here. I'm kind of hesitant to push it because like I didn't touch this file otherwise. Not really related to the change that I'm trying to make, as far as I can tell. I think we're gonna not commit that. We're gonna only commit this. We'll see if it passes. And my understanding is it should fail. I don't show a merge. Maybe it's because I didn't fetch. That's probably why the update went so fast. But that fetch for. Yeah, no, this is more like the speed I'm used to. Good to be true. That's fine though. I'm not looking for better than I had before. I'm looking for not freezing. If we could get to not freezing, I'd be super happy. Fetch successful. Main does not show that it has any changes. Still be fast, I guess, and it still didn't change anything. Strikes me as kind of weird though, because surely main has commits since the last time this branch was updated. I don't know why those would not. Oh. This doesn't show. I mean, it has a merge back here, but not. Okay, this is today, I guess. Okay. I don't know why it's before that, but that'll work, I guess. It's the merge here as well, just before the I do the merge and just forget about it? I don't think so, right? I don't think I clicked merge until after I had already done the commit for this one. Strange. Okay, well, I think the Unix port build is relatively early in the action, so we can hopefully see if that passes. It should, because I was able to make one locally, so should. But we'll have to see, I guess, about the formatting. And control. WM config. Ooh, I have this already. I mean, something is controlling the fan right now. What is controlling it right now? Like, something has got these thresholds defined already, because it knows, like for instance, when the hood formatting was running and it spiked the temperature, the fan revved up. So something is already doing that. I don't have this installed. I guess I could install it, but I don't want to use whatever's already doing it. Right, Reddit's also down right now. Which isn't the end of the world, but there is a lot of like helpful question answer stuff on Reddit. So you're searching for stuff, you find a link, and it's actually like see stuff. Okay. Get lucky with this. Where is this? We care about smoothing so much. I don't. It doesn't really bother me if it ramps up hard or. I mean, it like it bothers me that it freezes. Whatever extra noise or anything I need to endure for it to not freeze, I am gonna say that I'd be happy to do. I guess we'll have to wait and see if I stick to that when it starts happening, but. Make .mk. If that works. Play a Linux newbie, so like I feel like I'm chasing my tail a lot doing this kind of stuff. You just search for the file everywhere. Search like everywhere for the file. That ramped the CPU also. Oh, that's rough because it's gonna find every CircuitPython repo, and within that, it's gonna find every port file thing. I don't know if this respects these or not. At least spike to the temperature again though. About 80. I don't hear the fan revving as much. These. I mean, this kind of makes sense to me, I guess. It's like temperature, speed. This really says like where to put it. 76. Two and one. I know the opposite of this. Like I'm like rev it higher on idle. Oh, firmware is one of the updates I got. System 76 firmware. This is a System 76 hardware device. I guess I could post in there that thing. But I'm not sure. And okay. Seems like we can't change it without doing some stuff. Looks like people have made it possible. There's PRs and commits and branches and things. Maybe those will work. I don't really want to get into trying to build and add to my firmware, because if I mess that up, then Peter's probably just going to be more wrecked. So, and that. So we just leave it alone for now. Did this pass Unix? I think it does Unix before it does all the rest of these, so maybe? Exactly what builds the Unix port. Part of the actions it's done in. So far we have no fails, so that's good. Does it have pre-commit listed in here? It does, and it passed. So that about, right? Like why when I run pre-commit local, did it change this file? So I'm gonna undo this change. It's gonna go to a random file. I'm gonna run pre-commit. Ramped it to 89 degrees. So it failed and it did the formatting. And now if we look back here, this change got made again. So pre-commit made this change on my computer, but inside actions it didn't. What would that be? Have a different version of the formatter? Maybe? Odd. Okay. Got that in though. I'm gonna go back to this one. I think I'm gonna do the expressive port, even though I'm pretty sure the expressive port is like the more intensive one to build. It tends to take longer, so I assume it has more work to do or whatever. That's probably a very ELI5 view of it. And I don't really know what all is going on when you make the build, but it seems like it does more. I assume that it slams the CPUs harder. Therefore, I assume that if we're still going to have trouble, that maybe it's more likely that we have it on the expressive port than the other ports. I did get some builds on the other ports that froze also, so I know that this is not just a thing that's like specific to the expressive port on my machine. So, you know, I could build other ones too, and theoretically maybe we could still test if it's going to fail. But I feel like this one is kind of the harder one or whatever, so hopefully that means it's, in a weird way, hopefully that means it makes it more likely to have failed before I did all those updates and fixes, and then ideally even more now. Obviously it won't actually fail. That would be super nice. Yeah, I didn't put on this thing. I wonder if I could make this automatic somehow. Status 4. Yeah. I don't think my problem is fixed. Isn't yet. It's good still. Good again. I think this is the same kind of thing that's causing the freeze, though. I didn't watch the temperature, and I should have. I think something is leading to these things crapping out like this, and sometimes, like this time, it crapped out in such a way where we just got an error, it printed this out, and like the rest of the computer's fine, but I don't know the root cause of these. And I think whatever is the root cause of these is probably the same thing that is the root cause of the freezing. I think sometimes probably it's able to recover from this better and just print an error. Other times it doesn't recover. It just freezes. Because some memory appears somewhere that it's not supposed to, or disappears, or whatever. Music skipped. I think I'm still here. I saw 87 on the temperature. 86. 94. It's like kind of chilling around 70 to 80 right now, which it says 80 is high, so like it'd be nice if it would rev the fan a bit higher when it's on so close to 80, maybe? Because I don't hear it revved right now. It definitely did when I saw that 86, 87, whatever else I said, 82. We made it way farther into the process, but it still did not succeed actually building. And again, it's like while it's compiling C code, it failed. It's not really telling us why. It doesn't say the segmentation fault this time, seemingly. Would these... Would these cause the build to fail, or are these... I mean, it says warning, so I think not, but... Roll the dice. 91. Succeeded. So I feel like this hints at the fact that something is obviously still wrong. Like, how many builds in a row did I just try? At least 4 or 5. And I didn't change anything in between. This was the first real one. I did one before this, but I didn't have the export thing on. This was the first real one, and it failed with segmentation fault something. Right here. This was the second one, and it also failed with segmentation fault. Is this the same place? Runtime H? Yes. Cross sample. Does it say that right above it? Pass it. The different file, the thing immediately above it is different. I don't know if that means anything. So I don't know what it means. So 2 failed, then I did clean, accidentally did clean again. This one's number 3. This one did this successfully, did a bunch of this stuff. But failed here, but doesn't say segmentation fault. So it failed differently in a different file. Okay, 3 fails, and then it succeeded. On the 4th one, it succeeded, but I didn't change anything. So, like, something random occurred first 3 times that didn't occur the last time. Which, like, if the builds fail without freezing my computer sometimes, and I just have to try again, this is not ideal, but it's not the end of the world. But it'd be even better if we could have them not fail randomly. Try again. Oh, wow. Wait. Wow. So fast. This one looks like it failed kind of like number 3 did. Oh, actually, it does have segmentation fault. Uh, mm, I don't know. How's it going, C. Grover? The short answer is I don't know. I found this program called Mem Tester, which is supposed to test memory. And I ran it. The one of the things about it though is you have to tell it how much memory to test, which strikes me as odd. I kind of want to test all the memory. And I tried putting in the full amount of memory on my system, which is 64 gigabytes, but this is in megabytes, so it would be 64,000. I tried putting that in, but it failed. It, like, the system killed the process, basically. I think that the process tried to grab too much RAM, and the system killed it. I don't know that for a fact, because my Linux foo is not really high enough color belt yet to figure these things out for certain. Yeah, and so then, like, my working theory was like, okay, I'm not allowed to test all the memory because some of it's in use for other stuff, browser, Discord, operating system, anything that's running. It makes sense I wouldn't be able to test all of it at once because I can't grab it all at once, but I don't know how to tell it, like, can I test one half and then the other half? I mean, I'd have to, like, force it to move stuff around somehow. I don't know if there's a way to do that. You can put a number here, which is the number of times it will run the test. So I could have tried more times and maybe stuff gets shuffled in between, and maybe eventually I'm actually looking at everything. I don't really know. I never used this tool before. I don't really know what the output means, other than, as far as I can tell, it seems like it thought everything was okay, at least in the 32 gigs that it did check here. But I don't know how to get it to check, like, all of it, basically. So I don't know. It passed that part running it once. It actually passed some of these tests, like all of these, it actually did another time as well, but I forgot to use sudo. And I think that made this part up here fail. And I don't really know. I mean, the rest of this still did its thing, so I assume it also worked, but maybe it didn't. Maybe the way that I didn't use sudo made it so that the whole thing failed, but it still just printed this stuff. So I'm going to probably run that some more. But yeah. That sure sounds like if this kind of thing is happening randomly, that definitely makes me think the RAM is bad. One of the things I find strange is that I have yet to ever have the same thing happen doing any activity other than CircuitPython builds, which I guess CircuitPython builds are one of the more intensive activities that I do. But it's odd to me that like video games, streaming movies, IDE's open, Discord's open, Dropbox is running in the background. You know, I can have all of this stuff going, and I have yet to, it's never happened in that scenario. It's only happened while I'm building. And that makes me lean away from like bad RAM, because like if it's bad RAM, it surely would fail during other stuff as well. But maybe all the other stuff I do doesn't use as much of the RAM. Maybe the builds are taking more, and therefore it's like finding the janky spot. Linux expert wondering if there's a boot up memory test that runs before it's allocated. There is a. I don't know if I have the tab open for it anymore. I should. There was. There's this named memtest86 plus, not to be confused with a thing apparently called memtest86, which is a different thing. Memtest86 plus is a entire OS, as I understand it, a bootable OS. My understanding is I could potentially put this on a thumb drive and then boot from that thumb drive. I would boot into this very minimal OS that is made for testing RAM, which is something I should probably try to do. But I haven't done it yet. What's this? I wonder if my BIOS has memory tests in it. Yeah, I should try this. How much does RAM cost? As you note, testing it is certainly going to be cheaper than swapping it. Depending on how much it costs, I might be willing to swap it. One thing is I don't know how many ports. I know that I have 64 gigabytes, but I don't know how they're split up and how many. Okay, I don't know how many ports there are and how many sticks are currently in there. like a way to see that? This feels so risky, right? Just randomly got a lot of upvotes and a check mark. Surely it's not destructive. I have no idea. I guess we could try. Why does this happen sometimes? Exists. Can I see like high level? What is it? Before I run it? Top management interface? Cable decoder. Okay, that seems legit. I mean, that feels weird. I guess maybe these are just number enums? Had an enter copied, I think, because executing? We're just on the next line somehow. Had some kind of non-entered new line copied. Interesting. Okay. Okay, each one of these is one stick, I guess. Oh, but that can't be right though, right? Because oh, okay. Each one of those is a slot, and it can have a card in it or not. Okay, okay, okay. So this is a slot with no card in it. We do have one empty slot. This is a slot with a 32 gigabyte memory in it. This is another empty one. This is another 32 gig one. So we have two 32 gig sticks plugged in. We have two empty slots. All of these right here are 216s. Does it say the speed? 4,800? It's the lowest of the speeds here. I haven't really kept up with your stuff about like what are all the DDRs and the speed and all this kind of stuff. I used to be more into that kind of stuff. These days, as long as it's good enough to do the stuff I want it to do, I don't really care about the details. So a 2-pack of 32 gigabytes is like $310, which is on the pricey side, I'm not going to lie. But if I had some kind of guarantee it was going to fix my problem, I'd be pretty tempted to spend it. 32 gigabytes Kingston by itself as a single stick is 134. There are 4 in stock, so you could buy 2 of those for 70. 40 for Crucial is what's in there today. Does this have like a serial number? Or not a serial number, but a Okay, yeah, this is totally like a part number or whatever. It's not the same as this one, but although it's pretty close, I guess, right? See, this says CT2K. This has CT32G 48C40U5. So it's like almost the same except for that 2K. So maybe this is pretty similar to what's in there. So there's only one in stock, but it's weird to me that the single one is less than half of the two. If there was enough of these in stock, it would be cheaper by $20 to buy two of them instead of that. 2K is dual channel. I don't actually know for certain. Maybe. I'm assuming the dual channel means that it's two sticks as opposed to this one, which is one stick. Let's look back at the Kingston. Yeah, the Kingston says single channel as well. I'm thinking in this one as well. I'm thinking that means the number of sticks. I don't know why they call it that. It's kind of a weird thing to call it, but why is that showing me? Oh, because I only did DDR5. Can I do? Okay, those are pretty much the options. So highest one is 309 Team Group Vulcan. It's not the Vulcan I'm thinking of, is it? That would be kind of weird. Or two Kingstons, or the Crucial, which I think is similar to what I have. That's pretty much the options because this is only a single. So it's basically two Kingstons or the Team Group Vulcan, which I'm kind of okay with. I mean, technically, I guess I could get the Crucial, but yeah, the top three are technically really the options, I think. Kind of hesitant to buy Crucial if memory is bad. Like, I haven't had it that long. I haven't really done anything that I consider strenuous to it or anything. So, like, I don't really feel like it should be bad by now. So I'm kind of cool going to a different brand, I think. I don't really have any recent experience with RAM brands, so I don't have anything else to draw on. But the fact that I'm having trouble definitely makes me want to shy away from it. It's also the cheapest one because the two of those are 270. This one's a little bit slower for memory speed, but not memory speed. Have number of modules as well. Okay, let's look up that dual. What does that mean? Okay, well that certainly makes it seem like it's not just 2 sticks versus 1 stick. So I guess it's just coincidental. See anything about channels? Does have a serial number? This is the only thing that I've found that looks like a channel. Maybe the 2K? I mean, the 2K could mean dual channel. I think that's what you said, actually. Yeah, or asked. That's probably right. Maybe I can look up this one, and if I look up this one and find a thing that's single channel, then that will also point me towards that. How do you spell crucial? Shoot. I'd say, as far as I can tell. So, but if I go to $2K, go to this. It's so weird that it's also coincidental 1 stick, 2 sticks, right? Like this is another instance where 2K is showing 2 sticks. Buses? Does this say anything about a bit bus? Okay. Does support dual channel. This is what I got. Be sure. It's customized, so it's not this exact one, but I think this is the base unit. And it shows dual channel. It does also show DDR4 though, which this certainly thinks. Did I Yeah. I mean, must also support DDR5, I guess. The RAM that's in it is the RAM that came in it, so means the people who built it put it in. So theoretically, the 2-pack is better because of that. Use slightly more. Okay. I try that. I'm gonna make another build. We're gonna roll the dice again. I definitely am to the point where, though, if I freeze up and I disappear, I probably won't be popping back on the stream. So thanks for hanging out, Grover, and anybody else that's watching. If I do disappear, I will not be back. I'm also gonna, even if I don't freeze up, I'm probably gonna be headed out pretty soon anyway. We're gonna be running to the grocery store. But roll the dice a couple more times here. Yeah. It's unclear to me if I'm currently using dual channel or not. I mean, it must not be, right? Because, yeah, it must not be because it doesn't have the 2K. See, but then theoretically, it also must be because the only choice that's 64 gigabytes, which is what I got, says dual channel, but it also says DDR4. Oh no, we're still here. Wow, life flashed before my eyes. It was just YouTube. But the old RE still there, I think. Can this thing tell you, what did I run? This was DMI code memory. Code dual channel RAM? RAM channel. Type memory. Yeah, locator, bank locator. For dual channel motherboards, it will say something like channel 1A, channel 1B. No module. Channel A. No module. Channel A. I'm gonna go no, I think, right? Like, I'm thinking we're on single channel right now. Because of no 2K here, I'm starting to think the 2K probably has got to mean dual channel. I don't know why they didn't do 2C instead of 2K, but, you know, it is. So that's one piece of evidence. The other piece of evidence, well, there's actually two inside of here. I kind of take it as a piece of evidence that they're not next to each other, right? It goes blank, stick, blank, another stick. I don't know for a fact, but I'm assuming these are in order. And therefore, I'm assuming that the 2 sticks of RAM that I do have are not next to each other, which I would assume they have to be for the dual channel thing. I think that's what that other page back there said. So all those things together make me think I have single channel right now. And I guess maybe, I don't know, maybe I just had different memory available when I bought it. That's possible, I suppose. B2, I don't know. Did I get I don't know what B2. V2. Go anywhere. No. Maybe I can look back and see what choice I chose. I'm not actually sure. Okay, so theoretically, the new RAM might be a step up as well. We must have finished the build, right? Or crashed out, I guess. Yeah. Segmentation fault during compilation. I will say, like, not freezing. This is a good thing, I guess. This is a step in the right direction. But yeah, it doesn't feel like the root problem is solved, right? It feels like the root problem is still there, just doing this stuff. I assume it probably could still freeze too. It kind of feels like we just get lucky, or it got a little bit better at more gracefully handling it, potentially, with the updates to the firmware and the kernel and all the stuff I got yesterday. Hey, buddy, please don't wrestle with my leg. I'm all the way over there. Okay. Gotta run. Hope your luck holds out. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it, and have a good evening. Thanks for hanging out. I will see you later. I'm gonna head out as well, actually, so for anybody else that's watching, I will sign off here. I'm gonna head to the grocery store. But it's the case nonetheless. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you. I will see you later.